Hello, I'm EnterElysium and welcome back to From the Depths. Okay, there's been an update in From the Depths and it's added something very awesome. But firstly, welcome to our lovely little, I guess it's a pre-Dreadnought type battleship. The Mukujin now has been painted. It looks vaguely okay. I kind of miss the slate grey. I mean, the grey, like gunmetal grey, it didn't lie. It didn't pretend to be anything else. It was like, I am a brute. I don't know, paint seems somewhat disingenuous for a ship like this, but it's now painted. That looks pretty cool. But we're not here today to talk about this. We're here today to talk about that. This is something new. So let's just quickly go over there using teleport. Yay, debug mode. Oh, God. Ah. Right. So, this is a particle cannon. This has just been added in From the Depths. It's basically a magnetic accelerator that fires a stream of particles at a target at like a fraction of the speed of light. These arms basically determine how powerful it is, and you can have 5 of them attached. You can see up here, there's like 1 on the back, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 on the sides. Although they aren't mirrored, which makes mirroring really annoying. It's really frustrating not having mirrorable things in the game now. But this basically means that you can have 5 different beams attached, and each beam, the longer you make it, the more charge and power it will get. And then you can also play around with some settings. It is actually mostly a slider gun, sadly, and you've got 6 sliders, and they sort of determine how much energy you'll use. Now, the energy is in these batteries here. We've actually got about 500,000 energy. And it's provided by our engine over here. This is 3 of our engine units, I believe, back to back, so it's about 10,000 power per second. And I've got it fully going into the battery. 100% goes to the battery, so it should refill fairly fast. And we probably won't need this much power. So, let's just see what the particle accelerator does. So you can see over there, there was a weird, crazy amount of, like, contrails or whatever. That is because the particle accelerator deviates. Each of those 5 beams is fired at once. And then, depending on the settings, they start to deviate. You can see that they're actually already quite deviated as they go past the camera here. Wait for it to recharge, and then you see there's a fair amount of spread. And as you get further on, the spread does get a lot more. There we go. So, what does it do? You've got horizontal/vertical focus. Basically, you can choose to be, like, the more you get towards firing at the edge of the FOV, so the more you're firing towards the edge of where the gun can see, the more inaccurate it will be. You can change this to be less inaccurate on the horizontal or less inaccurate on the vertical at the expense of the other one becoming more inaccurate. So right now I've got it set slightly more towards the horizontal. Value of 1 for horizontal. Oh, that's actually set towards the vertical. Whoops. You should be set that way. So it's now set to be more accurate when it's actually firing along the horizontal and less when up the vertical. Also, we've got damage and attenuation. Attenuation is how much the beams spread. They spread more over range. So, it says damage decreasing with range as well. It seems to be a bit to do with the attenuation being also from like some of the spread as well. I'm not really sure what that does right now. I know it does affect damage as well, but I've got that set somewhere in the middle. Field of fire. Basically, the bigger your field of fire, the more inaccurate it will be. But I don't really mind. I'm just testing it. Efficient/overclock. You know, you can overclock this to use, like, far more energy, but the energy usage goes up squared to the amount of damage. So if we double the amount of damage, you'll see down here, initial damage is about 10,000, with energy use of 3. Double that. Energy use is actually, oh my god, yeah. Energy use goes up by 4 times this, so it's the square of this number. But the damage does double. So, you know, you can get some extra charge there, but at a cost. An extreme cost. If you take this to 10 times, you'll be looking at each one of these. Yeah, 2 of these would have overdrained the battery. We've got 5 of them. So let's just put it down to, keep it at 2. We have 2. Damage and accuracy. You can do more damage and be less accurate, or you can do less damage and be more accurate. And charge time. The longer you charge, the more energy you'll have in the gun. The shorter you charge, for instance, damage is now 20,000. If we reduce this to, say, 2.5, look, it's half that. And then back to 5. But let's put this at about, what, like 4.5? 0.6? 0.7? Yeah. Could we go for like 6.5? Oh, that's not 6.5. 4.65. 6.4. 6.3. There we go. 20,000 exactly, except for the middle arm, which is the one that goes straight out the back, which is slightly shorter because it doesn't curve around. So we should be doing a good amount of damage here. Now, it's got several different modes. Piercing, explosive shock, which is useless, EMP, and impact. Let me just demonstrate what piercing does, because it's hilarious. Right, so I guess this is our target. Sorry about this. Yeah, it went out the other side. And it just sliced through armor. Look at that. Took out a chunk of that gun. All the way through. Now, I'm actually going to set this to not repair damage for now. Just so you can get a feel for it. But this is what particle cannon does. And it also works underwater. So if we go... Now, freeze time. Particle beam. You can see that the particles are already starting to diverge a little bit. And by the time we get to here, there is a massive divergence. However, the divergence is mostly vertical because we've got the horizontal more accurate. And look what they do. In there... Oh, I haven't given them time to punch through yet. Okay. Fall off? Right, so look at this. We've got... This one has punched through here. Hit part of the ammo hole, but not detonated it. This is punched into here. This one has just ripped a hole at the bottom. They've done a good amount of damage. If we unpause. Where's my... There we go. Now, it's a shame it doesn't have predictive firing arc or anything, just so I could get an idea. But you can also do stuff like... Oh, look at that cannon! Whoops. There goes some important stuff. I mean, I missed the central joint, which is a shame, which is what I was going for. But look at the way it's just gone straight through. It doesn't care about armor. Like, look at that. It really doesn't give a damn. This thing is insane. Did we actually cut those warheads in half down the bottom there? No, those are two separate warheads. Okay. Now, we can change this and have it on different settings. For instance, if we set it to EMP. Which is amazing. It's actually really, really strong. In fact, I expect it to be nerfed. But look at that amount of EMP. Look at it travel. Now, let's look at some shock absorbers. So the shock absorbers down here haven't been affected. The ones on the side, look at that. Those will be knocked out. And there's quite a lot of EMP shock absorbers here. So let's find another one. I missed. Got to perfectly line it up. Ready? Fire. So you can see, wow. Yeah, look at that. Shredded a load more of them. And you might think that shredding the shock absorbers, that's not interesting, but imagine if a ship didn't have shock absorbers. For instance, say, I mean, I know there's surge protectors, but the Onyx Watch ships. Some of those really don't have enough shock absorbers. And they get absolutely minced as soon as they're hit. And if we have a look at some of the guns, let me see, what's the closest gun? Here we go. How is your AI? Where's your AI? Where's your AI? Is down below. Your AI is okay. Let's try and knock you out then. Come on. Particle accelerator for the win. You see that currently it's kind of short range. The beams are diverting quite a lot. Not really hitting directly where I want them to. You see that one carried up to the bow. And now... Oh, I can see bits dropping off. EMP's still traveling. Right. We were looking at this gun here. Let's go down to the bottom. A lot of things near have been destroyed, but it hasn't been destroyed. That's really interesting. Like, a lot of the cannon's actually been damaged. That is interesting. I wonder what that's due to. In here, yeah, in here the AI has been completely destroyed. The cannon itself seems to be pretty well protected. Is it just that cannon? Yeah, this has lost its AI as well. It's got a weapon control, but no AI. In here, yep, this has lost its AI as well. So yeah, we've locked, like, nearly all the AIs out on that ship. So, let's try impact. Actually, no, let's try explosive first. Just show you why explosive is kind of useless. Explosive shock. Now remember, this is the same amount of damage that put a hole straight through it. Oh look, we maybe damaged a couple of blocks and made some slightly darker colors. Now I imagine it isn't probably the best against a metal target. But to be honest, if I'm putting this much energy into it, I expect more than... Nope, that was the piercing hole we did earlier. This is literally the thing we did here, right? Look, it's... Oh, we damaged a... There we go. We took out a step. Oh, goody for us. Explosive shock sucks. However, its better friend, impact, is pretty good. Now, that's done a lot of damage. It hasn't knocked that actual block out. Let's try something a little bit closer where we can try and get all the beams on at once. The problem is, all of our 5 beams are kind of diverting from each other. There we go. So yeah, look at that. Massive chunk taken out. Bit of there as well. That's a lot better. Now, if I just tweak this, so we get the attenuation, no, sorry, the inaccuracy, be more accurate. That'll halve the damage. So if we just double the charge time, just make it 10 for now. Just for show and tell. Look at that. A lot lower attenuation, and the impact has done some serious damage. Okay, let's hit a nice air at the back. We're still charging, however. Can we turn the ship? Yeah, we can turn the ship. Okay, ready? Look at that beauty. It's ripped in here, took a chunk of the gun out, quite a large chunk of the gun, actually, and then damaged this. So, it can penetrate through quite easily. Look at that. 2 layers of metal, that was. And then a load of gun. Didn't go back through the other side, though. And remember, this isn't a ridiculous particle accelerator. This is not gigantic. Its engine is actually only, you know, 3 of those back to back. The particle accelerator itself isn't that long. It's not very compact. Let's take the bridge out. There we go. Now, a comparable cannon shell for that would have to be a cram cannon, really. And even then, you're talking about very large yields since it is metal. Whereas the particle accelerator has an AP of 10 when set to impact and 20 when set to piercing. So if we do one more shot with impact and, say, target the gun... Absolutely lovely. And now, if we were to set it to piercing, this thing's going to be ridiculous because it now has much more accuracy, which means all those beams are going to be on the same target. And we can start, you know, picking off things like, look at that Gatling cannon. There we go, look at that. Ceases to exist. We just cut straight through the section that holds it down. We could do that to, say, some of the side guns. Or we could do it to, say, the ammo hold. Which I think is vaguely about here. Ooh, how close did I get? I think I missed it by a margin. Yeah, it's got to be basically under the Gatling cannon from this angle. Let's aim it. Ah. Well, that's one. And ready to fire. Now? Now? Now. And there you go. You see something you want with the piercing, you can just take it out. And that is, I believe, both ammo holds gone. Yep, 2 shots, 2 ammo holds. I think that's a pretty good score. Now, of course, I know where the ammo holds are with this, but so does the AI, remember? The AI will deliberately target mainframes and ammo holds. So you can just be like, yeah, I want that dead. And it'll do it. Piercing on this is amazing. Really cannot express how completely awesome the piercing gun is. So, remember that front cannon that we didn't like? I think I technically just missed that a little bit to the stern. Problem is, at the moment it's set to recharge a lot. Now, of course, this is, you know, set to more main ship killer. You could just set it down to lower numbers. So, let's have it down at charge time of 1. Remember, that will reduce the damage quite a bit, though. We will overclock 3. Go for higher attenuation, which means the damage will definitely drop. 0.2 per kilometer. Oh, no, wait. There we go. Let's have the damage drop by 0.7. Yeah, so we've got one before anyway. And then let's just start firing. You see right now, it's still doing some reasonable damage, and it's firing fairly quickly. Now, we're still emptying very large amounts of electricity. When you look at the charge pack, it's nearly depleted because we've got overclock on. But look at the sheer number of holes this thing's putting in. Particle cannons are pretty cool. Look at the front of the ship. It's just turned into Swiss cheese. Now, of course, if we wanted to go, say, down to 0.1 and reduce the overclock to, say, 1 initial damage, yeah, not great. But now do this, which is sort of a shotgun kind of effect, I guess. Now, you won't kill any block instantly, but it's maybe amusing. Now, of course, if you had a much longer rail, etc., you could get this to work. But it's so inaccurate, we're rarely hitting the target. Although, when we do hit them, we are doing a little bit of damage. But it's not actually taking out any blocks there right now. Wow, those beams are going everywhere. But, yeah. That's the new particle cannons. So, what I think we'll do, is I know I spent a long time just shooting things with particle cannons because they're amusing, is I think, in the next episode of our campaign series, we're gonna have to do something with particle cannon. I'm thinking of ship. I'm thinking of ship with a spinal mount particle cannon, because they're very hard to actually get in a turret. Now, you can do it, but the turret then needs to be pretty big, because look at the size of the particle cannon. And if it gets hit, you have issues. Now, let me show you the final issue with particle cannons. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Now, assume this is the back of our ship. There's stuff here. This is stuff. Or maybe make our stuff a little bit wider. So, each of those tubes currently has magnetic particles going down at ridiculously high speeds being accelerated. Well, magnetically charged particles because it's just electric. Anyway, now, imagine this was damaged, say, by me just doing this. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh no! Look at my terrible... I'll use a minigun. Okay, so now there's like, you know, thing that isn't capped, and it says, if you look at it, pipe 1 is a length of 20 inches, is defective and a dangerous pipe. So if, for instance, I was to then fire the weapon, or just turn the weapon back up to its better settings, it's like 5 there, overclock of 2, and I was to then fire it, Our beam shoots out of here and went straight out the back. Now, those are actually black, but they are damaged to the extent that I believe they're destroyed. No, they were just stationary. Okay, so it did go through. There's now 2 left. Actually, they might be destroyed. So, if you have a particle cannon in your ship and your ship gets damaged, things can go dreadfully wrong. So, for instance, a little bit of battle damage. And remember, this is a particularly tightly packed ship. There we go. And suddenly you're firing dangerous particles back through your ship that are quite damaging. And notice how far they went. Let's zoom out. You could not only Swiss cheese your own craft with this, you could Swiss cheese the rest of your fleet with this. So they do have a downside, which is really cool. I like the downside. They're dangerous. So if you put them in a turret, be aware that you will then possibly have a spinning ball of death inside your hull. That you kind of have to be cautious about. However, they might make reasonable spinal mounts because then you can better armor them. The issue then is you're trying to bring them on target because they've got a very limited field of fire, 30 degrees at maximum. But I've been EnterElysium. If you have enjoyed this look at particle cannons, please remember to like, not subscribe, please consider subscribing. They have their uses, and I think I actually really, really enjoy them. I'll be honest, I think they're my kind of jam. Because they're ridiculous when you build them big. I mean, this isn't big, remember? This is just a reasonably sized one. And it just happens to be able to put holes all the way through my battleship. What was that? Oh, I think it went underwater like I intended. What? Give me my shot. Yep. There we go. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful. So, hopefully you've enjoyed this little look at the particle cannons from the update. We will be getting back to a campaign episode soon. And hopefully that will satiate your want for more particle cannon goodness. Because I know I certainly would like some. Oh, we did manage to take the turret out. It's just it's got a metal block there connecting it. Oh, and this gun is actually connected. This gun's broken. Oh, fair enough. Not for much longer. Let me just line this up. Come on. That shows you just how inaccurate they are. Even at this range. How accurate can I get you to be, particle cannon? Okay. Screw it. Max overclock. And then maybe more attenuation. Fairly close. Okay. This is going to deplete our entire battery and then some. We just don't actually have the energy to fire this, but we'll fire some of it. Now, that has to be said, I do find that particle cannons do tend to aim low. And that was our one shot we had. Look at step. Particle cannons do have a habit of aiming lower than you actually aim, which is why I would love to have a little predictor. Sad. Oh well. Until next time, though. Stay shiny.